Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Globe Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello, happy Thursday if you're listening to this on a Thursday. I will be touching down in Miami when you're listening to this episode. So let's just pray that I'm getting some sort of sun, because today in Toronto right now, as I'm filming, zero sun. Can't see the CN Tower even if my life depended on it. I woke up at freaking 4:30 a.m. What is going on with me? You know what it is? It's the freaking magnesium Sleepy Girl mocktails. It will get you. Because I went to sleep at like 10, knocked out, then woke up at like 4:30. I'm not complaining because I got so much done, but I am a little bit tired. I'm recording this at 9:30 a.m. So if I'm all over the place, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But I do need to tell you one thing. One main thing that completely allowed me to embody main character energy. That's what the topic is going to be today. We're going to talk about embodying main character energy, having confidence. I am going to give you a definition. I'm going to tell you the one thing that really changed the game for me, and I'm going to answer a lot of your guys' questions in regards to main character energy and confidence, because you guys had a lot of really good ones, and I think a lot of you guys will relate. We are going to get into it, but first, my book, The Ultimate Globe Guide, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it sitting beside me. It is out and it is released. Please, if you guys have pre-ordered the book and as soon as you get it, please tag me on Instagram, either my main Instagram, Alicia Gogan, and or the podcast, the Globe Secrets podcast, to show me that you've received it and let me know your feedback. Please let me know how you like the book, your favorite parts, whatever it is. I can't wait to hear the feedback. Hopefully it's good. I've gotten some really good feedback already from some people who have read my like author's copies that I've given. But I'm excited for you guys. This is the year of glowing up. And when I come back from Miami, we are going to do some sort of challenge. I'm going to do it, like I said, on TikTok, but I will bring it to the podcast because I know not every single one of you watch my TikToks, but we're glowing up. And I'm coming back, and then it's going to be February and then March. So basically, like, summer is here, guys. Okay. I cannot wait. Also, one thing though, next Monday's episode, there's not going to be one because I just didn't have enough time to record one more episode before I leave for Miami. So you guys will not see a episode then, but that's fine. You guys can go look back on the library of podcasts that I do have. So I wanted to talk about main character energy because I feel like in my comment sections recently, and probably just the topics I've been talking about, I'm getting this sense of like, we don't know our worth. Like, where's the confidence in the girlies who are listening to the pod, you know? And I think this is just a good topic and a good reminder and a good, like, let's get back on track of what is important, which is us type of energy. And like, we know having confidence and main character energy gets us the things that we want in our lives because we go for what we want in our lives when we have confidence within ourselves and believe in within ourselves. So we just need to have a conversation about it. And I feel like there's so much discourse online regarding main character energy. And I'm not even trying to bash other creators or whoever else is talking about these topics, because I think everyone has their own little tips on how to embody main character energy. I think I have my unique tips. I think I've tried other people's tips in terms of, well, we're going to get into it, but even somebody had asked about, you know, dressing and looking a certain way and like using external things to make yourself feel like this main character and certain mannerisms and things like that. But that stuff never really worked for me. The thing that worked for me is, I'm going to tell you in a second, but I really just want to read out a definition of what main character energy is if you guys don't know, and then I'm going to give you my definition. So this is a simple Google search, and I wrote in, what is main character energy? And I got, main character energy is a characteristic that describes how a person prioritizes themselves and their own happiness. Main character energy is typically associated with high confidence, self-respect, and self-love, which I feel like we all know that. But my personal definition of what main character energy is and how I see it is somebody who is themselves, somebody who is authentically themselves. How do you be authentic and be yourself though? And this was the one thing that really changed it for me. I had to learn how to love and accept myself for being a human being with flaws, making mistakes, not making the right decision all the time, getting out of my own way, dropping perfectionism. In order for you to really actually like yourself, this, in my personal opinion, requires you to like the parts of you that aren't picture perfect. I think that we are so good at loving ourselves on condition, meaning I love myself when I show up for myself. I love myself when I'm hitting all my goals. I love myself when my skin is good today. I love myself when I'm on a weight loss journey. But what about the days when you're not? What about the days when your skin's not good? What about the days where you messed up? What about X, Y, and Z? And you don't like yourself when you do those things. And that's, to me, what gets in the way of you really having main character energy, because the truth of the matter is you are human. You are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. You don't go through life making the right decision every single second of the day. Okay? That's just the reality of it. And am I saying, oh, we're just going to like always go through life and not care about how we act or be and like self-improve? No, because the podcast is all about self-improving. But the thing that changed the game for me in terms of confidence, main character energy, improving myself is accepting that I'm a human being with flaws and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm not going to get in my own way and get wrapped up in these mistakes or these flaws that I have, or trying to change myself so much and try to be perfect, because it just doesn't work. And I think that like when I really see somebody who is confident, they are themselves. And when you really think about somebody who's really themselves, they're real. Okay. They're not so prim and proper. They make mistakes. There's something about, and again, like everyone has their preference in what you like in terms of realness, obviously. But I think main character energy is about being yourself, and how you be yourself is you accept the fact that you are a human being, and you don't continue to put everything in your shadow and hate every part of yourself and reject every single part of yourself. And you realize, like, I don't need to reject so many parts of me that I maybe learned one day to hate and reject and deny and disown, which is the reason why a lot of the times we struggle with even liking ourselves, is because somewhere in our lives, in our journey here on earth, we have been taught through society, through parents, through friends, toxic people, this, that, you can't act like that, you can't be like that, you're ugly if you like that, look like that, X, Y, and Z. And so it's no wonder that we don't like ourselves, because everyone around us is telling us in our ears, you need to do this, that, and the third. So it's like a normal thing, because we grow up wanting to have connection and love with other people. So we do our best to conform. But realistically, it's not, again, about not working on yourself, but you can only conform so much. And I always think about this when it comes to my natural hair. Like, I was only able to burn off my hair so much before my hair literally like started falling out, to the point where it was like, I have to embrace my natural hair or run the risk of not ever having any healthy hair. Like, I had to eventually just decide. And I'm not saying also if you have curly hair, you can't get your hair however it is you wanted. But for me personally, it got to a point where my values, my everything, I want health, and I want nourishment for my body, my mind, my soul, my everything. And I know personally what's good for me. And that was learning how to embrace my natural hair. And I don't always wear my hair natural. I don't always not wear makeup, or I don't always, whatever it is, but I give myself flexibility and I allow myself to be who I am as well. And it's not about, when my hair is not straight, I'm like not good enough. It's just my hair's not straight. Or when I'm not wearing makeup, I'm not good enough. It's just I'm Alicia without wearing makeup. I'm very like neutral about it. But I think we've learned, okay, well, when I'm not wearing makeup, or when my hair's not done a certain way, or I'm not acting a certain way, or I messed up, it's like you're bad, you're wrong, you're whatever. And you're not. You're just a person who didn't make that decision, or you're a person who doesn't wear makeup today or hasn't been wearing makeup today. You know what I mean? Now, another reason why it's so important to accept yourself for your flaws, your mistakes, your just being who you are, like you don't have to look at it as flaws or mistakes, but whatever, we'll use those terms, is in order for you to really build confidence in your life, you have to be willing to try things out in your life, because that's how you're going to get good at things and feel confident within yourself, right? You can speak at words of affirmation all day and, oh my gosh, okay, love you, like accept you, like flaws, this, that. But at the end of the day, how you build real confidence though is actually going out in the world and trying. If you're not accepting yourself though, and you leave no room for mistakes, for error, for flaws, you're not going to try. Why? Because you can't accept the fact that maybe you will be cringy at one point when you try something, or you might mess up, or you might make a mistake, whatever. So that's why it's so important that you need to learn how to accept and love yourself, because that allows you the ability to take that action to go out and try in your life. And when you try, that's how you build real confidence. People want to talk about all day, how do I build confidence? What's the key to confidence? You try, you practice. At the end of the day, we can tell ourselves all day how amazing and beautiful and this, that, and the third that we are. Yes, we need that. Obviously, that's like the first step. But eventually, you have to actually take the step. The same way when it comes to building anything in your life, goals, you can sit here and make your dream board all day, babe. But at the end of the day, you have to wake up in the morning and you have to take your feet out of your bed, get up and go do the thing that you said that you wanted to do. You have to take the action. It's not just going to come to you. It's not just going to knock on your door. It doesn't have to be hard, but at the end of the day, we have to take the action. So it's really important to have that mindset of like understanding, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be flawless. If I mess up, whatever, who cares? I'm learning. And I even said this on a TikTok. I said, if you want to win in life, you have to be willing to try. You do not win in life if you don't try. Okay? And I even think about this when it comes to YouTube, podcasting, whatever in my life. I had to try. I had to be willing to try and be willing to fail, be willing to practice. So know that when it comes to building confidence in any area of your life, whether it's relationships, making more money, career, learning how to even just accept and love yourself, you're gonna have to practice, you're gonna have to try, and you're gonna have to leave room for, okay, maybe my first video is not gonna be flawless. And who is making it the end of the world and the biggest deal? You are. At the end of the day, you are. Now listen, you are because maybe in your past, somebody has made it a big deal, or somebody has told you that, you know, you have to be perfect. So this is why it's so important for you to understand where you first picked up this idea that you had to be perfect. A lot of us had really strict parents. A lot of us are just trying to keep ourselves safe because maybe we got made fun of once in school, or maybe again, we see, like for me, I used to always see girls who were praised that didn't look like me. So when I looked in the mirror and I saw myself, I'm like, oh my God, like let me try and hide myself and morph myself so that people don't like see me. But like, obviously that's not a healthy way to live. Now, I did talk a lot about this in my book, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide. I talk about the cycles that I went through and how I was always trying to be on this pursuit of glowing up and like loving myself. But I really struggled with that because I had these deep-rooted insecurities based off of just what I was going through in my life. I was in survival mode. And a lot of you guys ask me this question in regards to how do you get over the fear of being seen? And I think that all the advice I just gave you is so relevant to this question if you continue to ask people, which is fine that you ask that. But it's like your fear of being seen is really you fearing yourself. You don't allow yourself the opportunity to fail, to make mistakes, to be cringy, to be imperfect. You're so afraid to be seen because you're trying to be this picture perfect you. You have to practice being flawed human being realistically. It's really not about what other people are seeing about you. It's you're looking at yourself like, oh my God, I have to be this certain way, and because it's really hard to be perfect or show up a certain way, I'm just like too afraid and I can't do it, and like I have imposter syndrome. You have that because you're afraid of seeing yourself for who you are. You got to go on this self-acceptance journey. It changes the game. Like, I used to never want to accept anything about myself. because I made meaning out of it. Like, oh, like I'm not a worthy person if I make mistakes. I'm not gonna be loved if I don't have a picture perfect body. I won't get X, Y, and Z in my life, my wants and my needs met because I am myself, which is wild, but that's how we operate. But realistically, this is all ingrained beliefs that are actually not your truth. And when I was thinking about this topic, I just wanted to say, like, everyone has a right to be confident and take up space and to be seen in the world. But somewhere along your lines, you have been taught that you can't, somebody's taken that away from you. But you need to understand, and I'm telling you this, everyone has the right to take up space and be seen and be feeling confident in life. But it's going to be up to you as an adult now to remind yourself that, to go on that journey, to reparent yourself, to allow yourself to be released from this inner tyrant voice that keeps telling you you can't be seen, or you have to be perfect, or you can't do X, Y, and Z, but these people can over here. Nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. So the most important thing when it comes to main character energy is learning to tap into self-acceptance and self-love. And there's definitely a few questions that I will answer in regards to this, but you know, I think over my years, I just realized that I'm wasting so much time trying to be perfect and it doesn't even exist. And like, you can't be everyone's cup of tea. You're not going to have everyone like you. If people are even tearing you down for being who you are, those people are not for you. Like I feel like a lot of us do know this. We just need to hear it again, but we need to really practice that in those moments when we are, you know, trying to be perfect to the point where we don't end up doing anything in our lives, or we feel we have to give the energy of who cares. And I know it's so much more like easier said than done, but I don't know. I just think like as I've gotten older, I'm just so sick and tired of trying to keep myself in this small little contained box because I'm too afraid to be seen for who I am, which is actually a either flawed human being or just maybe not everyone's cup of tea. Because that's how I felt really in high school. Like, you know, I didn't want to be myself because I'm like, oh, well, like these guys over here are not going to like me, or like these girls over here, I'm not going to fit in with them. Okay. If those guys don't like me over there, are they really my guys? No, they're not. Like at the end of the day, they're not. Or these friends who I don't fit in over here. Well, why is it that I don't fit in with them over here? Maybe because I don't look like, okay, just because you don't look like everyone doesn't mean also you can't fit in here. And like, who's to say that these people have an issue with that? But even if they do, then they're not your people. But also, why am I trying to move into spaces where it's completely opposite to me? Most likely that's because I'm trying to reject myself so heavily. This does not mean that you can't move in spaces that are different than you. You can't pick up, inspiration by people and makeup and hair and this, that. Of course not. But like really getting to the root of where these beliefs and these thoughts are coming from will be so huge in your self-acceptance journey. But again, my book really does address this, and it has journal prompts in the book. So if you're interested in the Ultimate Glow Up Guide, it'll be linked down below. All right, let's get into the Q&A because there is a lot of questions. So somebody had asked how to have main character energy and confidence, but still work on your flaws. And what I got from this question is basically like, how do I hope that this is, maybe we could just reword this. How do I love and accept myself while still working on myself? And I think the key with still like working on yourself thing is accepting and loving yourself through the process of you not being your dream version yet, instead of you being a tyrant on yourself and hating yourself until you get to the end result. Like I just never accepted my body on the pursuit of changing my body. And I know it kind of can be hard because it's like you're changing your body at the same time. So it's like naturally you're not going to like your body that you have. But I just would always look in the mirror and be like, it's fine that I'm a little bit overweight right now. Why is this at the end of the world? It's okay that I don't look like an Instagram model. Why is it the end of the world? And what I'm going to focus on is moving my body and eating correctly and taking care of myself from a place of I deserve it, from a place of this is what I should be doing in life. Not from a place of, oh my God, you need to work on yourself because you're inherently wrong. And also you have to fit in it with everyone else, this, that. No. You want to change from a place of self-love and nourishment and love for yourself. And because this is something that you should be doing, like moving your body and eating correctly, instead of moving your body, eating correctly, this, that, only because you're trying to get a means to an end. Understand the natural consequence of you taking care of your mental health and your physical health will be your beautiful body the way God intended at the end of the day, okay? But what we are trying to do is not accept even what God intended and the natural consequences of taking care of our unique selves. We're trying to morph ourselves into being somebody who we're not even that person. We won't be that person. Why are we trying to be someone else that we're not, right? And I talk about it in my book at the beginning of my glow up journey, where I was so obsessed with Tumblr and girls who just didn't look like me. And I was like picking up these glow up habits and like workouts, dieting to try and morph myself into being somebody on my Tumblr blog that wasn't me. And once I started to learn to love myself through the process, understand why I even got to the place of unhealthy relationships with food and not taking care of myself, and I really started to learn how to love and reparent myself and take care of myself in a healthy way, I stopped caring about wanting to be the other girl, and I started caring about becoming the best version of me. That's why I have this glow up podcast, is because I really want to bring everyone's attention back to their unique self. Going on a glow up journey is coming back home to yourself. It's not changing yourself and becoming someone else that you are not. So I think like how the difference is, the type of habits that you're telling yourself that you need to do, it will tend to be like really, really strict if it's coming from a place of self-hate versus self-love. And coming from a place of self-love looks like not telling yourself to do the same hard, strenuous 5 a.m. workout every single day or you're a failure. Understanding that there's natural flows of life. For women, I love to cycle sync, so I give myself like ease and grace. Also, when I'm not in the best mood, I don't like get mad at myself for like not having so much energy during the day, and I allow myself to just be who I am. I let my emotions out on the days that I feel like I am having a hard day. I don't beat myself up about something if I didn't come out with the best quality video, or I messed up my words, or, even if things don't work out in relationships, I'm not sitting here telling myself how bad of a human being I am. I look at how I played a role in a relationship. I take ownership, I take responsibility, and I keep it moving. Like, we know this. What's the opposite? For you to continue to just berate yourself every single day? Why are we doing that? Most likely, we've been taught to do that from somebody in our past, but that's not us anymore. That doesn't serve us, so we're not doing that. So I hope that kind of answered the question. I kind of went on a tangent, but also in terms of like what helps me have main character energy and like confidence within myself, even as, let's say, I'm not like exactly where I want to be, is always just working on myself, right? The way that you have confidence in your life is when you show up for yourself. Okay. So even if I don't feel fully confident in something that I have going for me in my life, let's say I walk into a room where someone is like more successful than me, I tend not to feel like crap about myself so much when I know that I woke up that day and I was working on something similar to that. You know what I mean? Like going out, let's say, okay, let's bring it to like physical appearance. Let's say you go to the beach and you see these girls and they have amazing bodies, which like, people have amazing bodies. It's great. Love that. But like, we're at the beach. Like, let's have fun in the sun and let's have a great time and embrace the vitamin D. Like, bodies are like the least important thing. But let's say it's super important for you and you recognize everyone has a great body. You tend to feel a little bit better about yourself, even if you see somebody who's clearly reflecting a contrast, which is different than you, which is fine. You can remind yourself, okay, well, I went to the gym today. So How much more am I going to berate myself when I went to the gym today? I took care of myself. I'm drinking my water. I'm having my vitamins. I'm going to sleep at a good time. I'm having my journal practice. I'm working on my finances. I'm doing the damn thing, right? So at the end of the day, I'm not going to say that I just have confidence moving through life without doing anything in my life. I have confidence in those moments too, by simply reminding myself, well, I did do everything on my to-do list today, so how can I really get down on myself? You know what I mean? Somebody asked, can you talk about the forgotten girl who always feels unwanted and alone, and how she can start feeling more valued? And then she followed up saying, and the girl who always gets rejected anywhere because of her skin color. This makes me so infuriating when I'm saying we, but really you, because I haven't really gone through much racism in my life, if I'm being honest. I'm a mixed girl, and although I did grow up in literally all white school, I for sure felt different. But it wasn't really a skin color thing too much. And I didn't really have, I definitely had a few people a few times in my life where they said something about my skin color back in high school. But my parents were really good at just reminding me people can be very ignorant. But this just infuriates me because it really, really just sucks. And I hate this, that you have to move through life feeling like you're not enough because your skin color, which by the way is so freaking beautiful. And I just think can we all first and foremost just decide from this day on to accept the things that are natural to us, and we can start by skin color, please. If you have brown skin, if you have black skin, if you have white skin, if you have freaking mixed skin like me, just please, can we all embrace it? Please, please, please. This is just, you have to look at yourself beautiful. But also understanding this, if someone is going to the extent of, let's say, skin color, they're not well. Mentally, they're not well. So what we're not going to do is move through life feeling unwanted by people who don't even know how to love themselves, never clearly got taught how to learn to love themselves or others. I'm sorry, we're not even going to have, these people are so irrelevant to us, okay? So we're not even going to worry about those type of people. And in terms of you saying, can you talk about the forgotten girl who always feels unwanted and alone? Maybe you have been forgotten in your life at one point in your life. That's probably why you feel like this. This is usually, these type of feelings actually come from something stemmed way younger than the first experience that you maybe been aware of feeling like this. So whatever that is, understanding maybe where that came from, this forgotten wound, I should say. But you don't have to move through life being forgotten anymore, but it's going to be up to you to look at yourself you are no longer forgotten. And how you do that is you first look at yourself you're unforgettable, okay? And I know that it can be hard to look at yourself you're chosen when there's people literally in front of your face saying, I don't choose you and I don't like you and this, that. But I think what helps for me, at least what helped for me when I was in high school, especially being somebody who didn't get chosen at all. I really just didn't like myself, was realizing okay, I'm around people who clearly just don't have the capacity to accept me. So I'm not going to try and even chase these type of people. And I'm also not going to wait for them to validate myself and tell me that I'm amazing and that my skin is great or my hair is great or whatever. I'm going to decide that for myself first, which I'm not saying it's fair, right? A lot of the times, life is not fair. Was it fair that I had to go to a school where there was nobody of color and no one even knew how to praise somebody of color or whatever? It was crappy. It really was. But I just decided, you know what, this is my life circumstance right now. I am going to decide that I'm beautiful and worthy, and I'm going to work on myself, not from a place of changing anything about me, actually embracing myself and my uniqueness. And I'm going to continue to move through the world, and the world will reflect it back to me. But guess what? The world is not going to reflect it back to you right at the beginning. And I think that's where we get caught up, is okay, we're going on this self-love journey and I'm going to accept myself and I'm going to oh, I love my natural hair now. And then you go out and nobody's commenting on your your natural hair, like nobody's like choosing you or whatever, do not use that as evidence to fall back. Why? Because you don't fall back on it, like, accepting and loving yourself. That's just, in my opinion, a little bit of flawed thinking. But in terms when you're saying, and how can she start feeling more valued? Stop waiting for other people to validate you, to tell you you're pretty, to tell you you're beautiful, to tell you that you're successful, this, that. And listen, I'm not going to say that you're not a human being and you don't want that and you shouldn't get that in your life. Of course, this is why we do the things that we do, is because we want validation and love from other people. And it's so crappy that you didn't get that. It's so crappy that we all, in some sense, did not get that. Life is not freaking fair. I hate it. But all we can do now moving forward is say, whoa, okay, this is what it was. I just didn't get this love that I actually inherently deserved. I deserve it now. I'm going to do my best to look at myself as valuable and lovable and do the things that I need to do, which, I mean, I'm going to talk about a few more things, so maybe this will help you. I don't know your certain circumstance other than you said your skin color, which is very, like, it's not an easy topic to talk about, but especially coming from somebody who's just mixed, right? But I think you have to be the one to decide. You have to be the one to decide that you are valuable. And you have to stop waiting for people to tell you that, and stop surrounding yourself with people who aren't valuing you. At the end of the day, right? It's not your fault that you feel these ways and these things might have happened to you in your life. But it a lot of the times it is our fault in the sense of where we continue to place our energy and our attention and our time and our focus. You have the ability to take your focus off of the people who are not valuing you and onto people who do. And maybe that will take some time, but you need to first take that spotlight off of everyone else. Everyone else. Stop searching for everyone else to validate you and validate yourself. Love yourself. Decide that you are worthy. And this goes with any aspect of things. And I'll bring it back down to social media. I decided that I wanted to do social media. I decided that what I had to say was great. I didn't go out and survey people and ask people, what do you guys think? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? No, I'm deciding. Why? Because everyone has their own personal opinion and preference anyways, right? So I could get a bunch of people that say, yes, amazingly, you should go do it. But then there's like going to be half the world that say, no, that's not a good idea. What do you want in your life? Go for it and stop asking people. And I think as you grow up, you start to realize there's just no point. Like there's not like stop asking people to validate and whatever, because at the end of the day, you're going to do what you really want anyways. And even if people tell you not to do the thing that you want to do, you're going to still have that desire to do it. So there's no point in asking. And now, obviously, it's good to ask for advice and this, that. Like we need some direction in our lives, but you know when you're asking way too much. Anyways, that was kind of a tangent. I hope that helps. You know what? I just want to quickly mention there's a video that's going live. That's so funny. It's 10 o'clock right on the dot. So my video has gone live on my main channel regarding how to become your own it girl, which I will get my editor to link in the description. And I talk a lot about getting to the root of self-hate. And if you want, I guess, more advice on that, then please go watch that video. Also, I actually was talking about skin color in that video because I had seen on my YouTube backend that there was high search terms for people who are looking to whiten and lighten their skin, the black and brown community. And this is a like $8.6 billion industry. It is not gone away. I know a lot of you guys aren't interested in that type of content, but it is still on the internet and it breaks my heart. And I was talking about that in that video. So if you want more content on that, please go watch that video. All right. Somebody said, I'm too insecure to go on dates. What if he rejects me and when he sees me for the first time? I don't really know. I guess like what happens when he sees me for the first time? Or I guess what if he rejects me when he sees me for the first time? This is the energy that you need to embody. This really helps me when it comes to confidence. Is this energy of, or the saying of, okay, if you don't like me and you reject me, okay, and what? Is it the end of the world? No, it's not. But we just make it the end of the world, right? If he rejects you, okay, he's not for you. Why do we have to internalize everything, right? Because that's what we do, especially with men. Oh my God, he doesn't like me. He doesn't want to da. Listen, I remember this one time. And it honestly, like, listen, I'm not a narcissist in any capacity when it comes to like main character energy. Like, I'm a very humble person. But I don't get rejected with men, mainly because I don't actually like pursue men very often, but for the most part, like, I don't really have that. But for sure, like, even in high school, I'm sure like there's guys who like didn't like me, but I just like, whatever, who cares? But there was a specific time where I went on a date and he was cute. Like, we were talking through a dating app and he had known like one of my friends, so it was like kind of cool. And then we went on a date and I thought it went pretty good. And then he texted me after and he was like, hey, like, it was so lovely meeting you, whatever. I just don't think there's a romantic connection, blah, blah, blah. And I was like so triggered. I was like, what? First of all, I really didn't, I don't know. Like, I guess I just didn't think about it too much. But when he said like, oh, there wasn't a romantic connection, blah, 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 I was kind of like, okay. At first I wanted to internalize it, but then I was thinking, this is not to throw him under the bus, because maybe it was just me, right? He obviously there's something about me he just didn't like, which is totally fine, like, whatever. But he was like really awkward and like nervous, and he sat beside me at one point, and I feel like he like wanted to go in for some sort of kiss, but like it just didn't happen, and it was really awkward. And I just feel like that moment, I think he realized there was, for some reason, there wasn't like the chemistry, like we couldn't get it, we couldn't do it, I don't know. But anyways, I don't know why I even said that part, but that's just like kind of what I thought. But I didn't go on in my life and continue to internalize it like, oh my God, I'm ugly. Oh my God, I'm the worst person. Oh my God, I'm not going to get what I want. Because at the end of the day, it's like, this guy means nothing to me. I don't even know this guy. And you know what? It's okay if I'm not his cup of tea. Does it kind of like sting a little bit? Like, damn, like, you don't think that I'm like gonna be your wife? Like, you don't want to marry me? But like, at the end of the day, this is just clearing energy and room for you to find exactly who you're meant to be with. So don't take rejection as anything other than redirection. And honestly, when it happens, if it does, which it probably won't, like, it's really rare, I feel. Okay, and don't internalize it. That's all I can say. And at the end of the day, when it comes to dating specifically, and this is something that I had to do when I started like dating for the first time, and I was so insecure and I was so shy and I was so nervous to go on dates when I was young. Like, I didn't start dating guys and talking to guys until like 17 or 18, like, genuinely, because I was like so afraid, because I was so insecure. But I started to realize like the only way I'm going to get good at this is if I practice. So I have to like have this okay F it energy and just, you know what, go balls to the walls and go on a freaking date. And if he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me, because at the end of the day, I'm never going to get to my dream man if I can't go on this freaking date, you know? Like, I got to get through it somehow, some way. And what helps is just accepting that, you know what, I'm not a perfect human being and I'm perfect for somebody, but maybe it's not for him. So again, don't internalize it. Go on a date, go do whatever you need to do. Don't give this guy also, or this person, like, put them on such a huge pedestal, because at the end of the day, you don't even really know them. And when it comes to main character energy, it's like you kind of want to look at yourself as the highest form. Although somebody had also asked like the difference between being a main character and like being a narcissist, which I totally get. People get turned off with main character energy because they're like, wow, you're just like being a narcissist. No, people who need to embody main character energy are the people who are people pleasers, anxious, attached girlies, girls who are insecure. Okay. We're not talking about the people who are already self-absorbed. And realistically, as long as you're still caring about other people and being respectful and being humble, don't be afraid to care about yourself and put the spotlight on yourself. You know when you need to put your spotlight on yourself versus other people. Someone asked how to stop comparing myself or herself to Instagram models or women in general. Honestly, if you like really struggle with social media, I would say take a break. Unfollow girls who are clearly making you think about body image all day. I don't care. I don't care if you want to like, oh, but I need to be strong and I should be able to look at these girls. Yeah, you can and you will once you work on your self-confidence. But right now, best thing that you could do, unfollow, stop looking at the stuff. Why does it matter to you? It's not really relevant, right? And I'm saying that like with love in a way, because like I think about my younger self of, I cared so much about this stuff that like wasn't even important at the end of the day. Like an Instagram model's body is not important to me. Not relevant. And I'm not saying like this person, this Instagram model is like not inherently worthy and like valuable and like important, but I just mean in general, especially to somebody on the internet, like across the world, most likely irrelevant. And okay, cool, amazing. Like you have a great body, but like we can continue on with our day. But if it's consuming you, mute, unfollow, get off of social media for a moment. Think about all the other things that are more important than body image just for a little bit, and that will help. Also, in terms of like women in general, like I get it. I don't know. I just think like, not everyone is going to have a picture perfect body, by the way. Also, like with Instagram or even in real life, if you see people who are flawless, drop dead gorgeous, have amazing bodies, not everyone has that. And it's okay if people do. Like, okay, like if somebody has a great body, it's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then you go on with your day, like it doesn't have to be this big thing. I think that we make it a big thing, right? It's like you're making meaning out of yourself based off of what you see about another girl. Another person's beauty should have nothing to do with you. You can look at them as inspiration. Oh my God, how you do your hair? How do you do your makeup? Oh my God, I love your outfit. But when it comes to this point of like, oh my God, I'm a piece of crap, no. But I think what does help when you go into the world, especially like women in general, if you're seeing people who are pretty and beautiful and amazing, when you work on yourself, you tend to stop, again, having these ruminating thoughts. Because when you go out and let's say you do have a natural thought of, oh my God, she's so amazing, you can think about yourself and, oh my God, I'm so amazing. Why? Because I accept myself for who I am and my flaws. I don't expect myself to be perfect. I don't need to be perfect. I'm not prioritizing body image over everything. Life is so much more beautiful outside of this. Also, I show up for myself. I go to the gym. I take care of myself. I speak to myself kindly. I'm a great person. I have a great personality. I'm doing this with my finances, this, that, and the third. Okay? So build yourself up as much as possible. And as you do that, just take a break from Instagram. I like, that's all I can say. Someone said, is it necessary to always be dolled up to show that you have main character energy? No. I think sometimes getting ready can help you feel good about yourself and pick up your energy and your mood. I was even talking about this on TikTok, how lately I've just been getting ready in the mornings, which is like putting on some blush and some mascara, even if I'm not planning on filming. And it just makes me more motivated to film or to do things. Even though I will film and I'll do most things with no makeup anyways, but there's something about the energy in which you have a practice of like getting ready and stuff. But I work for myself and I am a very efficient person and I don't like to do too much and spend too much time on my looks anyways. So that's why I kind of moved away from caring so much about that. But it is nice to get ready and like feel good, but you do not need to look like one of those dark feminine energy girlies on YouTube with like, in order to have dark feminine energy. That's not, or main character energy. That's not going to be the thing. You could look freaking flawless and have the worst confidence ever. Quite frankly, I've met some of the most beautiful, stunning girls in real life. No Photoshop needed. Okay. And they are very insecure. So no, you don't have to spend a lot of money on having main character energy. Again, it's your essence. And if we're talking about, let's say, men or women when they're looking at us, okay, yeah, maybe like the way you present yourself, yeah, okay, like you got your hair done a little bit, this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, how do you sound? And I don't mean the tone of your voice, okay? Like you can, I don't know, I think you can have finesse however you sound, but like, are you humble? Are you kind? Are you curious about other people? Are you self-accepting? Are you relatable? To me, that is confidence. To me, that is main character energy. To me, that's attractive. I'm attracted to a person in a room that is relatable and nice and welcoming and humble. That's somebody who I can aspire to be, but also they don't make me feel like complete crap about myself. That's how I like to exude main character energy, in a way of like, okay, I'm going to respectfully take my crown because yes, I can accept acknowledgement and love from myself. I love myself. I can take compliments. That's amazing. But not in a place of I'm taking a compliment and I'm so good and I'm better than you. I'm trying to inspire other people to be like me as well. Like, babe, you can have this too. I'm loving myself, but so can you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how I think about it. Another person said, this is like a two-parter, so I'm going to try and like understand what she's saying. I think she does. Or sorry, I think I do. She said, the pressure to be a bad bee around my Black community and the pressure to feel pretty around my non-Black community. And then she said, I'm quiet, I'm modest, and don't brag about my looks or guys, but I'm perceived as insecure. Help. Okay, so I don't know if you're mixed or you just have Black friends and white friends who are like very separate. I have like, this is my entire life, okay? Growing up as a mixed kid and being, too Black for the white kids in a way and too white for the Black kids in a way. But I don't really go through life identifying too much like that, like woe is me, because it's like not that deep. Like I can still very much so fit in with Black friends and mixed friends, and I can very much so fit in with my white friends. I feel like I'm a good mix. I know myself. I know how I want to present in life, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. I don't care if I'm too white. I don't care if I'm too Black. Don't care. So in terms of like the pressure to be a certain way around like the Black community, like let's say be a bad bee, that's just what it is. It's pressure, right? There's people who are always going to pressure you to be who they are. You don't have to be it at all. And I mean, I'm not going to obviously put a blanket statement and saying all of the Black community want to be these like bad bees, because there are so many people in the Black community who are like modest, they're conservative, they're, I don't know, like opposite of that. So like you can be whoever you want in this world. And if people are pressuring you to be like them, just understand there's a level of them not accepting you, in which why would you want to be around people who don't accept you in a way, you know? And you're obviously going to vibe with certain people. Like it's okay that maybe the bad bees don't really vibe with you, but like that's fine. And then you're saying the pressure to feel pretty around non-Black communities. So I don't know if you're talking in the sense of like fitting into the European like beauty standards or whatever. But again, it's just, it's pressure, and you don't have to give in to that pressure. I understand that it's hard, but it's like, you're a unique human being. I don't know what you look like, but you gotta embrace what works for you, right? And what you said here is I'm quiet, I'm modest, I don't brag about my looks or guys, and I'm perceived as insecure. You're just perceived as insecure. Who cares? People who are perceiving you as insecure because you are modest and you decide that you don't want to show off everything, that's beautiful, amazing. Continue to do you. You don't brag about guys and you're not interested in whatever it is. Oh, amazing. Own that. People, you are just being a mirror to people. If people are trying to tear you down, you're just reflecting to them what they aren't. And somebody who is really confident and loves themselves understands that there's going to be a reflection always back to them, but that doesn't mean that you need to tear that person down or for you to feel better about yourself, because you just know that you are you, or I am I and you are you. That's not the way that it's supposed to come out, whatever. And that's that. Like when I move through life now, when I see somebody who's different than me, now obviously it's natural to like have different needs and wants and like not to vibe with certain people, but like, you know, okay, somebody dresses like not modest, but let's say I do, which I don't dress modest, but you know, people want to show, girls want to show their bodies as that. Okay. I personally don't vibe with it. I wouldn't do it. I've stopped doing it, I should say. Like I still show my body. I have like bikini photos and stuff on Instagram. So I'm not like very, very modest, but whatever. Like there's certain niches and certain like styles that I don't like. Like I personally like wouldn't do that, but I'm not going to tear you down. Like I'm just going to, if I'm going to use an example, let's say my podcast, like I'm going to shed light onto things that I did and what I learned wasn't going to get me what I wanted. But at the end of the day, it's like, do whatever you want. I'm not going to tear you down and say that you're like a crappy human being. I'm just saying personally, the reason why I wouldn't, let's say, dress a certain way on Instagram or that is because I know where that will lead me in terms of conversations with men or relationship, like things like that. But that's like the extent that I'm going to. And I'm not going to make you feel like crap about yourself. Like I would never do that. So, not me making this about me when I'm answering your guys' question, but at the end of the day, you're just being perceived as insecure. You are not insecure because you want to move through life a certain way, and own that. And the more that you own that, those people will slowly fall off. Bye. Don't need you. Go away. And you will find people who are more aligned to you. You just have to create that space, and you have to trust that those people are coming. Someone said, how to slowly rebuild confidence and trust within yourself after events over the years that made you shy and doubtful of yourself. So I would say, in terms of, let's say, you dishonoring yourself at one point or making mistakes. I'm not sure, like, I know she didn't technically say that it was her that did that. Maybe it was like other situations outside of her. But let's say like you made mistakes in the past. I always like to look at it from a standpoint of, okay, I did certain things in my past based off of what I knew, based off of being in survival at the end of the day. We do everything essentially based out of survival. Now, this is not to accept and condone all of the mistakes or all the stupid things that we did. I'm not saying that, because people always say, oh, well, you're going to accept when people like do these crappy things or like whatever. No, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't help you when you can't let go of the fact that you made a mistake, right? So I think you just have to forgive yourself for the things that you did in survival mode, but also like understand when things didn't work out, or like events over the years that might have made you shy or whatever. Understand that a lot of these things are really just learning lessons. Don't ever look at any sort of loss or mistake as anything other than a learning lesson. And maybe it's taken you years for you to actually learn the lesson, which then forgive yourself for not learning the lesson for whatever reason, because there's a reason why you didn't end up learning the lesson. Now that you're learning the lesson, you're seeing whatever's going on, learn from it and continue to do better. That's all you can do. But also when it comes to rebuilding confidence and trust within yourself, I've been saying this, the way you are going to build trust within yourself and real confidence is if you try. Okay. So even if you're trying to do something again for the first time and you lost self-respect, you lost trust, you lost whatever, there is going to be a level of you being able to tell yourself, okay, like forgive myself, this, that. But the only way you're really going to build trust within yourself is if you practice and you do it. When you do something, now you have one piece of evidence to show yourself that you actually did it, right? Versus no evidence or the crappy evidence that you once had. So you got to take baby steps with everything when you are trying to practice something. Someone said, how to feel confident when aging. I hate the feeling of getting older. Well, I'm 28 and I feel like turning 28 was the year for me that I really like actually looked, I know this is kind of morbid, but like looked death in the eye in a way of really realizing like I'm getting older. But I was looking at it in the sense of genuinely like, wow, like I want to live. Like I have so much life to live. So many relationships to build, like children, family, everything. Like, oh my God, I don't want to die. I don't want to leave. So I don't know if you're thinking about it in this or you're thinking about it in terms of like self-image, which I guess can tie in together. But I just think like it's a normal process of life. So this is not to always like rid the feeling of that. Like it's happening. We're all getting older, which we can just use this as fuel to really live more present in our lives. But the way I look at it, and I'm only 28 and I know it's young, even though right now I do definitely feel the oldest I've ever felt, obviously, because I'm 28 or sorry, did I say 29? I don't even know. Oh my God, whatever. In my head, I'm basically 30, but I just think every year gets better. Like there's so many more chapters of our lives. Like, okay, we can mourn the loss of our 20s, we can mourn the loss of our teens and this, that, but it's like, okay, our teens were our teens, our 20s were our 20s, and our 30s are going to be our 30s, and our freaking, like there's so many chapters of life. We're not here to relive the same like 20s, like we're literally not. Life is cyclical. On a monthly freaking scale, we are cyclical as women for our cycles. So like, let's just be what it is. And there's going to be so much beauty that comes out of every year of your life. Every year of your life is like a chapter, right? In a book. But your 30s are going to be so much different than your 20s. You're going to be like, most likely, and who knows, because everyone's on a different path, but this is how I look at it at least. I'm building more of my career and who I am, and I'm getting more clear with who I want to be surrounded by and my boundaries and my needs and my wants, and more healing work and self-improvement and better finances. And then I'm going to be, relationship, husband, children, all of those phases to come. I'm not afraid. I'm really not. I'm really excited. I'm good here, too. I'm chilling, but you have to have that mindset switch. Someone said, how to have main character energy in the workplace when you work with competitive people. Just use them as motivation. You don't need to be looking at people who are being successful as you're in a competition in the sense of there's not enough. That's what I mean. Yes, we're technically in competition with certain people in some aspects, but tap into the abundance mindset and not scarcity and being like, oh my God, there's only one of this thing, and this person's going to get it energy, even if logically or practically there is. Tap into abundance. There's enough going around. Everything's going to work out exactly the way that you need it to. The universe, God has your back, whatever it is, and just use them as motivation. Just use them as inspiration. Just use them even if they get something that you have. Okay, great. That shows me that I can get it too. When I see people who are blowing up on YouTube, or I've watched influencers blow up, or this person got a brand deal over here, or my friend's killing it in this industry over here, great. That's just more evidence for me to remind myself and to continue to move in the direction of abundance. That is the only thing that I'm looking at things as. I am no longer looking at things that people have as, oh my God, I can't get that. When I see people have beautiful, healthy relationships, especially on TikTok, because I always see this on the comment section, beautiful relationships. I tend to not romanticize other people's relationships online because you just never know. And I just don't really, I don't really like that. But when I see that stuff, the only thing I think now is, wow, I cannot wait for my husband and how great he's going to treat me just like this, or even better. It's going to be different, not going to be just like this, but like that. But I do see some comments being like, wow, it's very much so wow, I wish I could have that, and I'm not going to get that, and why aren't more men like that, and where do you find them, and oh my God, no, we're not doing that. Someone said, how to have confidence speaking in larger groups. I would just say start with baby steps. The way I got more confident with speaking on camera is getting on camera and speaking and not being comfortable and trying again, but do everything with baby steps instead of putting yourself too much in social anxiety or whatever you have to do. But also practicing indifference in the sense of not putting the people who you're speaking to on this huge pedestal, they're telling you that you're going to be super wrong or judging you, whatever. People are here to listen to you. People are also normal human beings who are actually just craving relatability. So you can look at it like that as well. Come up with a certain mindset of these people are just like me, friend vibes. I don't know. That's how I think about when it comes to speaking on a podcast. At the end of the day, you guys are just my friends. We're just kikiing. If I met you in real life, I would be having these same conversations. Yes, maybe I am helping you guys out and guiding, but you do that in friendship. So it's not the end of the world, but also tapping into self-acceptance. You don't have to be perfect. When I'm speaking on the podcast, I mess up my words and that's fine. I usually edit it out, but even if I'm saying something that maybe in my head I'm oh, I should have probably said it that way. It's fine that I got it out, and people will understand it, and if people don't, it's fine. I'll have another chance to say it again. I don't have to say it the most perfect way like everyone else. Again, you got to tap into self-acceptance. Someone said, how to have confidence around men, and would you have the confidence to ask somebody out? I think how you have confidence around men is to stop trying to have confidence around men and just be yourself. And this is my personal experience. I see it all around me, and I have to still remind myself of this. But the best thing that you can do, especially with men, I find, especially with men, They actually just want you to be yourself. And it's so wild because we do the complete opposite. We are trying so hard to not be ourselves. We are trying to use makeup and outfits and act a certain way and say the right thing at the right time and respond a certain way. Just be your freaking self. Oh my God. And it's so funny because I used to, like, when I first started to realize this was I would always tend to be myself around men who I didn't want, and they would be obsessed with me. And I would realize, oh my God, it's because I'm being myself. And anytime that I really wanted a man who, like, I was just like obsessed with and like they were my type, I would always find myself trying to put a mask on. And I think as you get older and accept yourself, you realize, like, first of all, men don't want the mask anyways, the good men, but it's just, there's no point because you have to be yourself, right? Why am I putting on a filter on myself? I just mean an actual like physical life, like filter on myself when that's not even me. At the end of the day, if I'm going to be with this man, I have to be myself. So start trying to be yourself. Take off the mask. Be very aware when you're trying to like morph yourself into being this, that, and the third. I even give this example, and this is like just like a physical example, and it's whatever. Some people might not like to do this, but when I go on dates with men, I do not get myself all done up to the damn nines. I just don't do it because there's a few reasons. One being I just don't really move like that. Like, it's very rare that I get myself up, like, done to the nines. And I also just want to present myself in a way that's just actually me. And I also just don't want to train a man to like always be expecting that, to be honest, if I'm being honest. But, and like also it's just like a treat for them, whatever. So I don't know. You just got to be yourself though. Also, in regards to would you have the confidence to ask somebody out? It's not that I don't have the confidence, but I personally wouldn't ask a man out. Maybe if it depends on the certain circumstance. This doesn't mean that I wouldn't make myself known or available or open, have my energy open to a man, because a man really does need to know that you are interested in some sense, but it's not in a sense of you walking up to him and being like, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? It's not really that. You don't really need to do that. It depends on the situation at hand, and we can have a whole separate conversation about that. So let me know in the comments if you want that, or on the podcast regarding men and dating. But being yourself, for one, when you're yourself, your energy is open. You're curious. You aren't in your head. You're focused on, out here. And that signals to a man that he can walk up to you. That signals to a man, oh, she seems inviting. Let me go see. That signals to a man, okay, maybe I'll get rejected, but she's allowing me to come to her with something. So in my personal opinion, it's not about not having confidence. I just would rather a man come to me and, kind of court me in that sense, but I do make it known, and I do have a warmth, and I do have an openness energy to a man so that he knows he can come. But there's still men who will come up to me and just try and whatever, but they'll get the hints. They will get the hints respectfully, not rude, not in a rude way. But they'll get the hint. Last question. Somebody said, at home, I always feel confident, but when I go out, I get insecure. What can I do? I think what you need to do is practice in baby steps being more yourself. I don't know what it is that you're completely like insecure about, but let's say it has something to do, let's say you're insecure about your arms, and you're not insecure at all at home because nobody sees you, but when you go out, first, obviously you have to give the energy of like, okay, and like if somebody ever like made fun of your arms or like didn't like your arms, like, okay, and those people are not for you. But also tapping into the acceptance of, okay, I have these arms, so like, what am I gonna do about that? But also stop hiding yourself so much. Because I just remember like when I was in high school, I was so insecure about certain parts of my body, and then I would just continue to make it worse by hiding myself when I would go to school. Like wearing like long big hoodies and stuff, and like not giving myself the opportunity to practice being myself. And the way you practice being yourself is maybe you're just going to take off your sweater around your closest friends, and you're going to start to show yourself subconsciously, nobody's saying anything about my arms, actually. And I actually feel really good not having a freaking sweater on in the middle of summer. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to do this. And what you find is usually you start to be more in the present. You start to not focus on your arms because you're in a safe space. And then you tend to, oh, okay, you want to go like to the store? Yeah, let's go to the store, us three. No sweater needed. Walking to the store and you run into some kids. At first, maybe you'll have that insecurity depending on how much you're like really focusing on it. But the more times that you're present, you forget that you even have the sweater on. And guess what? These kids over here didn't even say anything about your arms. They don't care. And now you've shown yourself, oh my God, it's not even that big of a deal, right? So it's like baby steps with things. Even when it comes to like another example with like physical appearance, I didn't like how I looked in bathing suits. So I would always hide myself, but I would even hide myself like at home. So I started walking around in my bathing suits and like started looking at myself in the mirror and not telling myself, oh my God, you have the hottest body, because like I just like couldn't believe that. But I would go in the mirror and look at myself and be like, okay, it's fine. Like, yes, this is my body. Can I look in the mirror and just accept the fact that this is my body? Like, that is the first step, right? And the more times I got used to seeing my body, in a sense of seeing my body and not telling myself I'm wrong for how my body looks, the more times I did that, again, then I'd be able to have a little bit more confidence to go out in safer spaces around friends and realize, okay, I accept my body. When you accept yourself, other people will accept yourself more because you are showing up in that energy. People will conform to you. Now you're probably saying, no, but people do still say this, that, and the third. If that's the case, they're not for you. Stop moving around people who do not accept you. One of two things: they either conform or they either don't like who you are, and those people are not for you. That's really just what it is. So with that said, that's going to be everything. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. There was a lot of confidence talk in this episode, but I love talking about confidence because I feel like over the years I've really built it, and I'm still working on myself. I'll just put out a disclaimer. Not every single day I'm feeling myself, but the days that I don't feel myself, I tap right into self-acceptance. It's fine. You don't have to be perfect. Who said? Okay? I don't need to be flawless. Okay? My skin's breaking out right now, which I don't know if you guys can see on camera. Okay, and it's going to go away. And the more you detach and the more you like focus on other things in your life, the skin gets back to normal, whatever. You know what I mean? So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, Monday, there's going to be no episode, but just go binge watch some other stuff. Everything that I will have that I mentioned will be linked down below, including my book, The Ultimate Globe Guide. Can't wait for you guys to get it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.